Well, good evening, everybody. This is Jason Cisneros, the very first episode of the Bald Avenger show of 2020. And
Hey.
hey, we're in there. What? And my name is Jason Cisneros, also known as the Bald Avenger, the tattooed guru, the king of the misfits, and a legend, Crysten, in my own mind.
In your own mind.
My own mind, okay? So I'm super excited. I couldn't think of a better guest to have on as we enter into 2020. My first Just Jason Monday is going to be this coming up Monday on the 13th. And it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. We have so much stuff. I got a chance to work with you. Those of you that don't know Crysten is the lead brand architect for the newly formed Anton Jae. What is this? Is that me?
Agency?
Yep, the Anton Agency. I just had something pop up on my screen, which was crazy. So anyway, with the newly formed Anton Jae Agency, and that's a big deal for everybody that don't understand. Most of you that know me have heard me say, marketing and branding super important, and then the marketing piece of it. The world is full of people, right? They're just full of people that overpromise and underdeliver in the world of marketing. And there's very few people that understand and know branding. And you get it at such a high level. One of the things I want everybody to understand is that you and Thomas are in total and complete control now of the Jason Cisneros brand, the Bald Avenger brand, the Anton Jae Global brand. So all of the brands that I have that have anything to do with me, now you all are running. And that's a big deal for everybody. I haven't done it. I've had a lot of people ask. I've had a lot of people want to be involved. I've had a lot of people that I've dealt with, that I've given opportunities to. And I had the same exact conversation with you and Thomas. And you said, well, just let us show you what we can do, right? Which that's my language. That's my language. I mean, in Anton Jae Global, what we do on the consulting side is, if we don't improve your business, don't pay us. Like,
right.
That's how we've always been, because I formed Anton Jae Global because I hate consultants, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason why I hate consultants was because I paid them so much money over my career and got very little return on that investment. And it was usually somebody that was a really great salesperson, right? And they're good at coming in and pointing out where you're weak, and some things, they use some language that you've never heard before. You go, whoa, maybe these people are smart. And it's the same exact thing the same exact thing happens in marketing and branding. And I got tired of that. So when we started Anton Jae, it was only supposed to be open for a short period of time anyway. And so I thought, we're going to do it differently, right? We're going to get paid on upside, because I know my shit works, because I have my companies. It's working in my companies right now, right? And so I know if people follow my stuff. So then when I met with you guys and we had the same conversation, you guys were like, well, just let us show you what we do. Like,
exactly.
And then if that works for you, then we'll work together and blah, blah, blah. Well, it turned out better than that. We ended up partnering. Because I've never seen a team of people with you leading the charge and Thomas at the helm as CMO for us now. I've never seen a team of people work so diligently together and produce such a great product in such a short amount of time, and so accurately. So I just wanted everybody to know and understand that I have a very high level of disdain for traditional marketing. And the other thing that I loved about working with you and Thomas is, you understand my premise is the greatest marketing is having a phenomenal product.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the marketing on top of that should make it easy for the people that you've served to talk about you, right? More than you going out and saying, where's the next group of suckers? Like you see that all the time. Like, there's this terrible, horrifying, event out there called Shitty Summit. We call it Shitty Summit now, but it's City Summit. And they do that thing. They go, and they take, unsuspecting, good people in the philanthropy world, and they go take over their audience and put a bunch of, put money in their pocket and don't serve them. And then they go, the very next year they go out and they find new people, new targets, like it's a bunch of piranhas basically, right? That they're going, and that's what happens with a lot of marketing people is they're just, and companies in general, it doesn't really matter what the product is. They're just looking for that next sucker.
And I think it works well in marketing too, unfortunately, to people's detriment. Unfortunately, it works well. I think because just marketing and branding, especially, that word is like, it's like Bigfoot. Like nobody understands it. Nobody understands what branding really is. Nobody understands how marketing is supposed to work. And especially as marketing as a whole and the way that we advertise gets more technologically based, most entrepreneurs, even people that are high-level executives for successful businesses, just quite frankly don't understand how it works. And so it's easy for someone with impure motives and ugly intentions to step in and use pretty words and get people kind of roped in, because quite frankly, no matter how successful you are, how long you've been in business, marketing has just changed so much. And even the last 10 years or so, that it's easy to kind of drag these people in and, basically lie to them and get them to pay a whole bunch of money for something that they don't even understand.
Right.
So unfortunately, it happens more often than I think people realize. And so there remains kind of like this mystical, how does marketing work? How does branding work? What is that? And it's not hard to understand why.
Well, and the great thing about you being young is that you're on that cutting edge, right? And I see people like all the time. I mean, you saw the interview, and that along stage with you, there's going to be this huge age gap. I want you on stage because you're that new, that fresh. You're not only are you new and are you fresh, but you're fucking brilliant. And so your talent level is through the roof. And then on the other end, we've got Ed Sullivan, right? Who's a legend, like a legend. He's launched Oprah and all this other kind of stuff. And you're going to get that. And he stays up on the cutting edge side of the stuff too. But it's going to be really interesting. I thought that was a very good dynamic for us to have, new school, old school, and that mix in between, so that people get both perspectives.
100%.
And on top of that, to know that not only do I want you on stage, but I also trust you with the Jason Cisneros, Bald Avenger, Anton Jae branding in your hands, you and Thomas's hands, right? And you're doing
a lot of your messaging was crafted actually by me.
Right.
So that should be scary. Everybody listening, if you don't like it, it's my fault. I'll own it.
Exactly. But that's the thing, right? Is the thing that I watch, and I want you to talk about some of the things that you saw about our brand, that you saw that needed improved, that needed captured, because everybody watching that will watch this now and that'll watch it on replay and that'll watch it on the other channels and the YouTubes and all the other stuff, they may be a lot like me, where world-class product over and over and over again. I have leaned very heavily for my business model and my business plan on doing such a great job that we lived off of referrals, right? Mm-hmm. That was our lead generation source. That's always been doesn't matter whether it was commercial, janitorial, or car wash, or the Bald Avenger brand. We want to do a great, impactful job. And then we know that there's a predictable thing called referrals that comes out of that.
Absolutely.
So what were some of the things that we were doing wrong?
So it's funny that you said, like, if as I talk through this, that this could be helpful to other people, because I do feel like there are really two main things that come to mind, but the root cause is the same. And it's the same for most businesses as a whole. And it's simply that it is incredibly difficult to step away from your own business model and understand how people are perceiving you. It's incredibly difficult. I mean, it's a simple concept, right? We've all heard the phrase, it's hard to see the forest through the trees, right? However that goes, but it's so unbelievably true when it comes to a business that you've created, because you know what you offer, how people are going to benefit from what you're providing to them or what you're offering up. But it's very difficult to become impartial enough to take a step outside of your business and understand how you're being perceived. Because as Jeff Bezos says, your brand is basically just what people say about you when you're not in the room. So your brand is how
Oh,
people,
dear God.
right? I mean, like, right, but that should be a scary thought, but it's true. It is true. Your brand is, I mean, boiled down to its simplest form, your brand is just how people perceive you. It's
Yep.
what people say about you.
Mm.
And so, but it's very difficult as an entrepreneur, high level executive, wherever you fall in that business model, it's extremely difficult to step away and be objective about something that you are personally so invested in.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the mistakes or the issues that we found with your brand were basically just manifestations of that it's just a continual problem that we find with a lot of businesses. It's not that what you were doing before is necessarily bad or crazy far off base. It's usually, more than anything else, it's simple tweaks in the presentation, in a couple of graphics and how people are going to perceive those types of things. And really a ton of it comes down to clarity of messaging. Yeah. How well can somebody come in and understand what you're offering them and why it would be of benefit to them? Because again, we talk out of our own business from such a heart, such a clear level of understanding. We know exactly what we're offering you. Yeah. But it's hard to zoom out and be able to be objective enough to understand what people need to hear and what their first impression is really going to be like with what we're presenting. So all that to say, one of the biggest things that we found when we were going through your brand, specifically Anton Jae, I'll just focus on that. Mm-hmm. There were pictures that were almost all white males, right? And that's one of the things that we talked with you about. And again, makes perfect sense. It's, I mean, at the helm, it's you and Joe. You know what I mean? So it's understandable why it would have manifested that way. But what you have to zoom out and understand is that what you're showing people, if they can't see themselves in what you're presenting to them, they don't think that offering is for them. Right?
No, it's so funny because I want everybody to hear this. These are the mistakes you make, right? Number one, when we started out Anton Jae, it was going to be temporary. We were going to do 10 companies, right? And we were going to take their stories for the book that I wrote and called Growth, Mastering Your Business G-Spot. And then we're going to close it down because I never wanted to grow up to be a consultant in the first place, right? And so I was like, all right, so and we sat down and in all of my other businesses, we spend a lot of time getting to know what the customer is asking. Like, and I want to play this out to what you just said, right? Is that we focus in on, we don't really care what we think about our product. We fall in love with the outcome of our customers. I've done that since day one. I've had some great mentorship in business. Fall in love with the outcome of your client, right? And so that's where all of our energy went. And then when you do that and you over deliver, then you say, who do you know that also needs this service? And you've got 3 new clients, right? So one turns into 3, one turns into 3. That's been my business model my entire life. And so then fast forward to Anton Jae, which was a business I never wanted to be in, which was called consulting. We were going to do 10 and then we were out. And I was like, throw up some stuff. Who's going to be the target audience? Probably, people like me. We throw up a bunch. I want it to be high class. So we put up these pictures of these assholes, with scotch and suits and, and cigars, like everything, like say the asshole, that's me in almost every Instagram picture. But, we put that up and then we were like, we just left it up, right? The work that we did do that you did see, right, was the brand architecture of who our customers were. And we put up there and they came out like to be, a woman and a doctor and like all these things that I had no intention of, like, that wasn't our target audience, which now with Anton Jae, 80% of our client base is women.
So it's not, so then there's this weird disconnect, right? Between your website looks like your client base is one thing and your actual client base is completely different.
Yeah, 100%. And the people that were running my companies, right, in my own organization were women. So it's just how very smart people can make dumb decisions based on assumptions, right?
Yeah.
You make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's where I love that you guys come in and you were like, you didn't hurt my feelings. You weren't like, Jason, you're such a dumbass. Why are you like blah, 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 blah. And I had another realization from another person from our lady, Nicole Arbor, who's going to be there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never built a brand around Jason Cisneros.
Right.
That's also something like I've never built it. I've never built a brand. Whatever I was doing, I was falling in love with the outcome of the client of that particular product. It was never fall in love with Jason Cisneros.
With your personal brand.
Right. It was never fall in love with me. And so, as I was going back and forth and she's yelling at me, just like you guys are yelling at me, going, Jason, what the hell are you doing on social media? Like this, that, and the other. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm successful in business. She's like, but you're playing T-ball.
Your personal brand sucks.
Right. It sucks. And I'm going, and she's pissing me off, just like Thomas and you have pissed me off. And I'm like,
dude.
I'm good. I'm like, blah, people like me. And by gosh, I'm handsome, like, and so I love this conversation in that I believe that even people who are doing well, right? As I've done, my businesses have all done really well. But now in this day and age of building an identity around who you are, because, and that's what I told her, this conversation I had with you guys and I had with her and I had with Ed, and I said, look, there's no amount of social media that will ever overcome a lack of integrity or a poor product, right? And I was saying that in defense of why I haven't done marketing and branding, and all three of you basically screamed at me, Jason, you're the product. And I'm like, well, then it's high levels of integrity, right? It's high levels of integrity.
And even when they're buying something that you've created, they're basically buying something that your brain has manifested.
That's right.
However you slice it, you are the product.
Right. And I was like, well, great. There's high levels of integrity. The product's amazing. It's a solid 6 in attractiveness.
No comment.
and so it's been a big dawning on me, for the last really like 6 months. And from somebody myself who I thought I really understood branding and marketing, which I did from a different perspective. I know how to take any company and any product and brand the shit out of it, make it better, make it as good as it can possibly be, from a performance, from an operations, systems, customer service, employee satisfaction perspective. But building 100% blind about me being the product. So when people are like that, when they don't understand that, that they may be doing unwarranted damage, or they're just not optimizing, right? Where do they need to start? Aside from the fact that saying, I may be good at what I do, but I may need help in how I do what I do.
Okay. I guess when it comes to personal branding, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. I would say this. I would say a couple of things. First of all, it's a necessity in any industry that you're in. If you consider yourself to be a thought leader in any industry, you need to be building your personal brand. If you consider yourself to be any sort of leader in any industry, you need a personal brand. And the thing is, whether you realize it or not, you already have a personal brand. It's just, are you capitalizing on it, and are you being intentional with it, or are you just kind of letting things appear, right? Because if you Google someone's name, things are going to come up. So are you going to be intentional in what you're presenting to people and with building a level of consistency and trust in what people are finding? Or are you just going to kind of leave that to the wolves and hope that they're finding something good about you? Because they are going to look you up for something. Because that leads to my next point, which is the fact that we live in a society where we are constantly establishing our level of trust for things based on a Google search result. So if I'm going to, for instance, and this is what I mean when I say marketing and the way that you brand yourself has changed so much, even in the last 10 years. And it's these simple things that have to be in line in order to make sure that you're building trust and you're building an identity that people can place their faith into. And I'll give you a basic example of this. Okay, so when you're going to go to the doctor's office, if I have to go see a specialist for something, okay, I haven't been referred, I'm just looking up, okay, let's say an acupuncturist, okay? What's the first thing that you're going to do when you're seeking an acupuncturist?
Yeah, you're going to Google, you're going to go to Yelp, you're going to go look somewhere.
Exactly. And how are you going to select the person that you actually end up going to see?
Like the highest amount of stars or the equivalent of whatever that is.
Right. So if I have 3 options, okay, I Google acupuncturist in my area, okay, I have 3 options that come up. Option 1, the dude has like a 4.7 out of 5-star rating, 137 reviews. And of course, there's always a couple of assholes that had a bad experience and want to get on there and just complain, like we know that. But like, so you've got one, though, like, oh, as a whole, people tend to really like this guy. It seems like a good place. Option B comes up and they've got like a 1.5 rating with like 3 reviews. Okay. And then you've got the third acupuncturist in your search results. It comes up and they have no reviews, no stars, nothing. I don't think there's anybody listening to this call that would pick anything other than acupuncturist A, right? Based on how they've been rated, based on the reviews, all of that. The reality is this: acupuncturist number 3, with absolutely no brand reputation online, could be the best pick. They might be the best acupuncturist you've ever seen. They might be more effective, more professional. Their office might be cleaner. They might be fantastic. But if I'm a consumer, I'm never going to pick them based solely on the fact that there's no reason based on what I'm seeing online for me to trust them, right?
Yep.
So to your point, yes, having a solid product should sell itself, right? If you're talking about just grassroots, word of mouth, that kind of basic model, yes, a good product should sell itself. But the reality is that perception and digital perception becomes people's reality. So the acupuncturist is just obviously an example, but my point is the same principle applies to people's personal brands. And so when you neglect to be intentional with developing your brand, there's somebody else out there that is being intentional with developing their brand. There's going to be somebody else that probably offers something very similar to what you do, and they're going to go to the person that they think they have more reason to place their trust in.
And you'll never know it. You'll never know it. Like,
you'll never even know.
And I want to give everybody great examples, right? Because the way that my brand, prior to you guys fixing it, was being perceived. I had a very, very good friend of mine that had worked with us and done the 12-week course and gone through and really improved his business, who happened to be an acupuncturist, right?
Really?
Yeah. Really, I mean,
funny.
We didn't even set it up, but he happened to be, and he's not just an acupuncturist, he's one of the top 3 in the country. And so he was talking about, you know, the way that we set this all up is we want people to go out, do the 12-week course, and they make more money, you know, unless they have a bigger company, obviously they should bring us in right away to put our hands on their business. But, you know, we want people to grow, right? And we wanted to build Anton Jae to be able to grow with them. And so he did the 12-week course, built some stuff in his business, got, you know, made tons of money, solving higher level problems sort of thing, which is you're growing faster than your skill sets. And so that's where he was at. And he told his team, which happened to be 98%, guess what? Female. Okay. Right. And not only female, but sort of on the, if you had the spectrum of conservative to liberal, it was, you know, way tilted towards the liberal side. And so so they were like, okay, cool. You know, we trust our boss, the guy that hired us, and so on and so forth. And they went and looked us up, and they went back to him and they go, you're going to bring in the white misogynist patriarchy prick like that we see online. And I'm not holding anything back. I mean, that's exactly what they said. And they almost went into full revolt because of how, not the fact that I go on and we rescue little girls, not the fact that I am passionate about domestic violence and you know, and helping in that arena, not the fact that we're feeding people around the world. Like, all of that stuff was completely missing. And what they did was they made a judgment on who I was based on some ill-conceived lightly thought of marketing that ended up on a website, and they went into full revolt, thinking that we were going to come in and tell them that, and basically put our thought. It's not how I operate. It's not what our business operates on. It's not our principle. It's not how we handle things. I mean, and again, 80+% of our business owners have been women who've actually hired Anton Jae.
Yeah.
And we went in and set up, we did this, to your point, we kicked ourselves in the balls, right? Before we ever even stepped in the door.
Yeah.
And
they already had a preconceived notion about you based on what you had haphazardly left out there for them to find.
Right. And so they judged according to that. And my old, again, and this, I'm sort of speaking honestly, because I think that there's business owners that are going through some of this stuff. Sure. That you get to a point where, like where I am in my career, you don't like me, fuck off. Yep. I don't need you. I don't need your business. Like I'm at that point in my career.
100%.
Kiss my ass. Now that's one side, which is, and then you go to the other side, which is the reason why Anton Jae exists, the reason why we did the 12-week course, the reason why we do everything we do is to resource good business owners to make more money, get more time so they can do more good.
Yep.
In other words, it's the pebble in the pond, so that when we need help rescuing little girls, feeding people, helping domestic violence, curbing suicide, helping our vets, all those kind of things, that good people, I can help them make more money, own more of their time so that they can do more good.
Absolutely.
So now I'm over here going, kiss my ass, I don't need your business. To the other side going, Jason, you're being an asshole right now, because you're causing a lot of this disconnect with people that I guarantee you there's people, to your point, that went to my website and just decided this guy is an asshole. They would be right, but a caring asshole. They missed that part.
Absolutely.
A competent asshole, somebody that could fix their problem in their business faster than anyone that they come across, with either my business program, which is the best business program that's ever been written in the history of mankind, okay, or that to bring in a consulting company that's built by people that are like them, that made the same mistakes and will help them. So now, again, I want people to hear this, because it's so important.
It is.
That you really look at your brand from somebody else's eyes, and don't be like Jason in that area where I'm just like, well, if they don't understand me and they don't understand my truth, well, they don't deserve me. If they don't get me at my worst, they don't get me at my worst. They don't deserve me at my best,
Well, I think I would say to that, that's fine. Like if you are just looking at this as your business and that's the attitude that you want to have, you are fully entitled to feel that way. And,
sure.
And believe me, I get it. Right? Like we've all had the asshole clients that we're ready to fire because we can't stand, like we see the phone ring and we're like, oh, right? Like I get it. I get the attitude behind that and I'm for that. Right. But I think for those of us that consider the business that we're in to be more than just a business, okay? For those of us that consider our work to be a calling and to be a passion, I would ask the question, what's more important to you? Having the fuck off attitude, or being willing to be brave enough to consider how people are perceiving you so that you can do more good for them and because of being in contact with them. To your point of helping businesses grow, right? So that the end result can be that they do more good. But if you're the cog in your own wheel because you just have this attitude of like, whatever, people can perceive me how they want, you are literally preventing yourself and those businesses from accomplishing that mission.
100%. I couldn't say it better. It's so true. And there's a side. I love the play here, which is then there is that time where people have to know and understand that there is an edge to Jason Cisneros. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's part of a carefully crafted brand strategy.
Carefully crafted. And to know that edge is there for their own good, right?
Absolutely.
We're this company that we're working on right now that you guys, are helping me with the life-changing technologies and health and, that kind of stuff that we're working on. I mean, that's a great example. That guy has had brilliant, life-changing stuff and nobody knows about it. And so we're coming in to help him do that. And from that perspective, he knows that for 20 years, he's been working on getting that company out there. And so when I come in and I tell him, hard truths about why his business is where it is and why we're going to be able to improve it, he takes that and moves aside and says, you know what? The decisions that I've made have put me where I am.
Sure.
And so then now you've got Jason, who's got this, this history and this track record of success, which is how I made my decision with you and Thomas, right? The track record of success and your abilities. And so, that getting out of our own way and really putting that ego down for people that are very confident. I'm very confident. I know my business model ideas work. I know that driving for referrals is a very sound business model.
Absolutely.
And I have said this from the day that I heard it from whoever I heard it from, was that I live in the land of and not under the tyranny of or. I don't believe you have to choose. I believe that my business modeling and the referrals, that is predictable. And if you want to light it on fire and accelerate, now you've got marketing. Branding's always a piece of it, but marketing that can then accelerate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what am I missing? What have I not asked you?
What have you not asked me? I guess the one thing I would say is this. You kind of touched on it a moment ago, and just, I think as people begin to kind of dip a toe into the murky waters of branding and identifying what their brand is, I think sometimes there's a fear and even a pressure to present something perfect, okay, or present something that needs to look or feel a certain way, that you can't be edgy, that you can't swear, for instance, that you can't, you know what I mean? But I think that there's just this misconception that when you brand something, it's got to be perfectly, seamless and polished. And I guess what I would say is this: your brand should just be, more than anything else, it needs to be clear, but it needs to be authentic. It has got to be authentic to you, because people can smell bullshit from a mile away. So if you're presenting a brand that's not authentic with who you really are, it's just simply not going to work. It's just not. The best thing that you can do, and what we do as an agency, is we're not ever trying to make you something that you are not. We're trying to take what you are and what's the most beautiful, encouraging pieces of what you're trying to accomplish, and we're just trying to basically make that more seamless and elevate that so that people can appreciate who you are and what you're trying to do. That's it. That's all that we're trying to do.
And I want to emphasize that, because that was one of the big pieces, is that I'm always going to be, I spent time, and I think that everybody does, is that at a certain point, you think that you, as you're developing or you become more confident in who you are as a human being, and you're not confident that who you are is something that is going to be bought off on in the marketplace. And you've heard the fake it till you make it scenario, where you're modeling yourself. I love the story of who's the blind piano player?
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, right? So Ray Charles was his number one skill set was mimicking the voices of other great singers. That was his original. And somebody came along and they said, Ray, you got to find your own voice.
Yeah, that's
right.
Good.
And I want people to hear this, that you got to be like, Danny Torres is on here watching, and he had some things where people were like, you know what, if you could tone that down, and and if you could do this, then maybe we could think about this, that, and the other. And I told Danny, I go, tell them to go fuck themselves, because Danny Torres, being Danny Torres, is what the world needs.
Absolutely.
It's not packaged the same way as everybody else. It's not it doesn't come across. What we need to do is become the best us we can be.
100%.
Right? And to find people that get that in marketing, and they're not trying to make you the next, Michael Jordan or Tony Robbins. There's already a Michael Jordan. There's already a Tony Robbins, right?
Absolutely.
And when you fully go, look, and I want everybody to hear this because you guys accentuate that, and that's the sign of a good branding and marketing team, is that you're not foisting your beliefs on somebody. You're digging for their authentic self, and then packaging it in a way that the universe and that the marketplace is going to consume it.
Absolutely. And that's why, I mean, one of the key phrases that Tom and I use when we talk about, going to a business to do a brand workshop is not creating your brand. We don't ever say that. We say we're going to help you carve out your brand. Your brand is already there. We are not trying to create something that doesn't already exist. We are simply helping you mine it out and polish it up so that it can be as effective as it can possibly be. And to circle back, quite honestly, to circle all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, you asked me what the initial things were that I found for you guys. And it had to do with the pictures that you had on your page, that you were not effectively representing what your client base really looked like. So for those of you that are wondering, we heavily, strongly suggested going in and adding photos of more women, adding more culturally diverse people of different races and ethnicities, different ages, just so that your market is actually effectively represented in what people are looking at, so they can see themselves in
and who've actually hired us. I mean, exactly. It was a representation. Yeah, it was a representation of who has actually
we've already had.
It's not. Absolutely. It wasn't like, okay, we want to do this culturally diverse. We already had a culturally diverse client base. We already had highly 80+% women clients. Like we already had that. And
that's funny, because when I started looking at your website, I literally called Tom and I'm like, these are all men. And Tom goes, I know.
Yeah. And they were all white men, by the way.
They were mostly white men.
Culturally diverse.
They were mostly white men between the ages of 30 and 50. I'm just saying, like, it was pretty.
And they were all fit. None of them looked like me, like, us ugly business owners.
They all had hair too, just to be totally clear. But I mean, to my point, and I literally remember saying, Tom, but doesn't Jason partner with like Kat Dawn on like, hey Kat, how are you? Like, doesn't Jason partner with Kat on a whole bunch of stuff? And doesn't Jason work with actually lots of women? And isn't Danielle like one of the chief people that he looks to? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is not a good representation.
He's referred to as God in my organization. That's higher than me, by the way.
but you know what I mean? And I'm like talking to Tom and I'm like, yeah, we got to fix that. Yeah. And Tom just laughs and he goes, type out a list. Yeah. And so that's what I did. And so it was the vision. And to those of you that are listening that are going, really, pictures is not really that big of a deal? Yes, it really is. And I would say this too, it's usually really simple fixes. It's not oftentimes that you have to go in and completely overhaul your brand and messaging strategy. It's things that you're just missing. You're just not thinking through how it's being perceived. So it was the photos, and the other thing was just clarity of messaging. I felt like as I was going through it, I'm like, I feel like if I didn't already know what you did, I wouldn't have a clear understanding of what you're offering me. Like, what's my buy-in for this? What am I trying to accomplish by hiring you?
Yeah. I mean, we spent a grand total of, 2 weeks building that website 8 years ago,
right.
8 years ago for something that was going to be open maybe a year,
right.
And that was where it came about. And the other thing that I love about our partnership, and you can speak to this because now we've got Anton Jae clients that we have matured and had our hands on, and and that type of thing, that how much easier is it to be able to come in and do what you do when the infrastructure and all the stuff that Anton Jae does ahead of time? Because I don't care what, I want everybody to hear this. If your product sucks, don't brand it or market it.
Yes, please.
don't do it, right, until you fix it. If you can't handle the work that you're doing now operationally, do not add branding and marketing to it.
You cannot scale something that isn't good to start with.
You cannot scale something that isn't built correctly in the beginning, right? And so, watching as this fit and we started working together, I thought, you know what, now we've got, Cottonwood Ranch, right? Cottonwood
Yes.
Ranch.
Yeah.
Beautiful people. They started out, in one position prior to even doing the 12-week. They went from the 12-week. They did the 12-week. Then they did a day, and then they did the 3-day deep dive. And then they partnered with us on the upside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now what they're doing is they're marketing. Why?
Yes.
Because their systems are in place. They're onboarding, their training, their human resources, their what business they're really in. All of those things are in place. Now you guys come in and you plop on top of that, you go, shit, here we go, right? Here we go.
That's actually, it's funny that you bring up Cottonwood, because that's the exact example that I was thinking of. So when we were in Montana at Cottonwood, the night before we started, so we did a 3-day brand workshop, which was very labor intensive, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, you did 3 companies, right?
Yes, we did 3 different segments to their business, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And so it took a lot of time, but it was fantastic. But one of the things that was so helpful, that was such a huge leg up on clients that we have worked with in the past, is that Tom and I were able to literally sit together and go through all of the outlines that you guys had already provided for them. And so all of the things that, that we're used to having to spend extra time, okay, well, we have to ask this, and we're going to have to see where they're at on this, because we can't even get to this level until we're sure that this is here. It was so liberating is really the word that I will use. It was so liberating to be able to sit with Tom, just look at everything on a page, clearly outlined, clearly well thought out, and already polished in terms of their overall business model. So this is already here. And instead of just being able to come to this level, we're able to come all the way up here. Right. And so we're able to really ensure that we're helping them, again, carve out and craft a brand and messaging strategy that is not only accurate for what they're trying to accomplish, but that is so well thought out that it will last them indefinitely. I mean, what we've crafted for them is not temporary. It will last the test of time for as long as they are in business.
That's right.
And
because they have that constant feedback.
Because they had that foundation.
Yeah, they had the foundation.
Absolutely. And I
love it. That's why I think the partnership is awesome.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, we have tried to, we have worked with businesses before where we've thought that they had their foundation intact, and we've got things and we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Right? Because I can't help, to the extent that we have sat with clients and said, you have homework.
Right.
Like we can't, like, and for me, right, because I'm sitting there like as the lead brand architect, I'm like, I can't even write you a mission and vision statement until you tell me why you're important to your customers.
Right.
I can't help
and honestly, 90% of the companies that are out there, and this is not a slam, it's just that I didn't know when I started, right? I didn't know that these things were important. And at the end of the day, if you go back and you build that foundation, you never have to rebuild it. I learned that by going bankrupt 3 times. It's not fun. Right. It's not fun to go bankrupt. It takes 3 to 5 years to financially recover, and longer than that psychologically to recover.
Absolutely.
So building it once and then being able to execute, and people go about it the wrong way. They're like, I need more sales. I need more customers. All my employees suck. You suck as a business owner.
Yep.
And
it's that old saying, like, if you think everyone else around you is the problem is actually you.
100%. Yeah. There's no such thing as a bad team. There's only bad leaders. And, that was in a book I read somewhere. So tell me a little bit about, cause it was a big jump for you guys to merge with us.
Yeah.
Right? It was a big jump. So what I want you to, I asked how bad we, where we sucked. Why us to partner with?
Quite frankly, just because we believe in what you guys are doing. I mean, it's that simple. And it's funny how what you said about us, as far as, you liked the fact that we said, let us just show you what we can do. And if you don't feel like the results speak for themselves, then we'll go our separate ways, no hard feelings, and like, cool, it'll be fine. In the same way that you felt a connection to us because of that, we felt a connection to you all. And as we continued to speak with you and with Joe and with Carlos, it just became very abundantly clear that you guys actually know, not only do you know what you're talking about, you are passionate and you believe in what you are doing. There is heart behind what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can speak for both Tom and myself when I say we've just kind of reached a point where we're no longer interested in working with people who just own a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just kind of over it. You know what I mean? We are ready to work with people who have their shit together, who are intentional and want to actually be successful in the field that they're in, but more than anything else, that they have a heart and a purpose and an intent behind what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the number one thing that we felt from you guys, is just that this is more, like I said earlier, this is more than just a business to you. This is a calling. This is you are fulfilling a passion, and you are helping create positive change in the world around you. And that, unfortunately, is just not common, especially in the circles that we run in, right? People that are into professional and personal development, most of them are honestly, and we've seen, Tom and I have seen some really ugly stuff. You know, there are people that are literally there just for the money, and people that you wouldn't think, people that present themselves as, you know, very benevolent, gracious people that quite frankly are just trying to screw you.
It's a disgusting pit of humanity in the speaker, you know, leader, thought leader, you know, a lot of these people, like, you know, there's so many people that know that City Summit is a crook and a criminal, and they still go on his stage because they know that there's going to be a new fresh batch of people to victimize. And, you know, and that's where that is a good transition actually to Unstoppable. You know, and Unstoppable was an idea, right, that Thomas had prior to you ever even knowing me. You know, to ever even knowing me. It was an idea that he had, and I had the idea of Unstoppable, but I was calling it something else long before I knew him, right? Yeah. And so when we looked at it, I you know, and I got to the point right before Thomas, I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of complaining. And Thomas goes, hey, I've got this idea and this structure, and, you know, and here's what I want to call it. And I'm like, fuck yes. Like, but let's, you know, because all I've been doing is bitching. And I tell everybody, you know, in my life, I'm like, if you don't like something, then go change it. Go start something of your own. And I'm over here going, I hate these people on there. All they do is sell, and they don't give it, like they get. And it's this web of scummy people that don't give a shit about everybody in the audience. Like, you know, and I want, man, I got to take some of my own damn dog food. I got to eat some of that. I got to, you know.
Figure it yourself.
And so that's where Unstoppable, which is going to be, the event is on the day of the 28th, right? We have, if you're VIP, we've got a welcome on the 27th, and we've got something special for people on the 29th that are VIP. Yes. But if you're VIP, but the day of the event is actually one day. Yep. And we've really structured that in a way where it really represents what I would love to see in the industry, right? Absolutely. No selling from stage. People that are actually busy making money at what they do, not making money selling how they do what they do to other people, right? People who are doing and making money with what they say that, or what they do. And then structuring that in such a way, and then having an award ceremony, and really a place for Misfit Nation and people that don't even realize that they're Misfit Nation, that are Misfit Nation, to come together and in proximity to other people who are really struggling to improve their lives, and make more money and do more good. And we've got our charities that are going to be there. New Dawn's going to be there. We've got CERT Ministries for the child rescues. We've got Feed a Billion's going to be there. Like, all of us are coming together at that event called Unstoppable to remind us in proximity, because a lot of everybody watching this that may be thinking about going, people that have already made the decision to go, that Unstoppable is going to be filled with an environment of humanity that is surrounded by people who don't believe in what they're doing as much as we will fucking believe in what they're doing, right? Yep. And that's what Misfit Nation's all about. We all have our families, and we all have our past, and we all have the people who know us and our besties, and 12 years that they've known us, and they're like, why are you doing that? Like, just stay with us, the normals, and like blah, blah, blah. Like, And there's this spirit that draws Misfit Nation together, which is I fucking want more.
Yep.
I want more. I not only do I want more, I have more to give.
Yep.
And that's what Unstoppable is about. And that's why it was created. And having you on stage is such a great representation from that gap of where you're coming from and the beautiful work that you're doing real world. And then you've got Ed Sullivan, and you've got Nicole Arbor, and you've got Danelle Delgado, and you've got, Gary V, or not Gary V, but Dr. V. And you've got, all of these people that are doing the thing. They're doing the thing. Yeah. Right? They're doing the thing, and they're all going to be there live, and you're going to be able to sit down and have a conversation with Crysten. You're going to be able to sit down and have dinner, and the VIPs are going to get a lot of time with the speakers, right? To be able to have conversations that otherwise cost 50, 20, 10, thousands of dollars to have an hour, to have a day, to have, you're going to be there for the price of a ticket, which we kept very reasonable, And so it's a real event. You're not going to go in there, and everybody knows what an event looks like. That they rush you in. It's a big cattle call, and all they do is sell to you the entire time they're on stage. It's not that. It's not that.
It's not that at all. And I will tell you, so one of the other things you said, how did Tom and I know that we wanted to work with y'all as an Anton Jae partnership? But I will tell you the moment that I knew as an individual that I wanted to partner with you as an individual. And I remember going up to Tom and being like, so it was at the Next Impactor, right? And you were speaking, and you're up on stage, and you're swearing left and right, and you're getting people to growl. And I literally remember going, yo, this dude's crazy. He's freaking nuts. But I go to Tom and I'm like, that's our kind of person. And Tom goes, that's exactly how I feel. And we were just like, we just felt this connection, right? Because we're like, there's no bullshit. There's no bullshit. And if you look like a fool on stage, who gives a crap? Who cares? If people's lives are being changed, if people's businesses are succeeding because we look like fools, cool. I will look like a fool every single day if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with the lineup of speakers that we've got, and with the leadership that's involved in putting this conference on, we all share that same mentality of whatever it takes to make, and not to be overly cheesy, but whatever it takes to get you to become unstoppable, and whatever that thing is that you feel called to, whatever you feel passionate about, we are going to help ensure that you become unstoppable, because nobody's stopping us. No, we're not going to let anybody stop us. And we want the same for you.
And those places where we have been stopped, we figured out where to put the dynamite,
Absolutely.
And it's full of a bunch of people, and there's no one on stage that hasn't overcome adversity. There's nobody on stage that hasn't had to break down a wall or two. Whatever that is. I mean, you get judged because you're too young.
I get judged because I'm too young, and I'm young, and I'm divorced, and I'm young, and I overcame obesity. I know.
You were divorced.
She's 27 and she's divorced. Oh my God, we can't listen to her for anything, right? But
I would say, what took you so long? But whatever.
Praise God, yes, right. that's preaching. Right. But I mean, and just the reality, yes, people are, and I know people are looking at me like, why are we letting a 27-year-old on stage? Like, what can she possibly have to offer?
You got Ed Sullivan. He's too old, and you've got, you've got Nicole Arbor, who's too loud. You've got Danelle Delgado, who's, how dare she, this single woman with kids, like,
there's always going to be something that people want to use to disqualify you. And all 100%. You have to do is say, bullshit. I'm qualified.
I'm unstoppable.
Absolutely. I'm so damn cheesy, but so good.
I love it. Yeah. Well, Unstoppable has, built into it a real thing, and that's what ties us all together as misfits. And why, when I look at the guest list of misfits from around the world that are going to be there, the common thing is that there's a heart that has been broken, a spirit that's been broken. Sometimes our minds have been broken, and we had to figure out how to piece that shit back together, and it became stronger in the broken places. And that attracted us, that drew us together as a family because we have empathy.
Yes.
You know, and what we do is we open that, you know, as I was doing the videos, those marketing videos for 2020, you know, I had a hard time that, you know, there's a call to action at the end of each video, and I was having a hard time with my language. And I'm like, you know, 12-week course and the growth course and, you know, and our consulting and, you know, and all these things. And one time I said, you know what, all I want you to do is go to the Misfit Nation page on Facebook and join us.
Yeah.
And it became crystal fucking clear where all of our marketing push needed to be, was to get people around other people like us.
And I think that the most tempting thing is to think, I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in your circle of people, you are the only one.
You're a misfit.
You know, exactly. That's exactly why you're, I mean, but seriously, I mean, and it's easy to kind of get down on yourself, and it's easy to be like, nobody else understands where I'm at. Nobody gets this. And I would say the same thing for myself. Is it common to be 27 and divorced? Nope. Is it common to be that young and struggle with obesity? Nope. Those are not normal things. And so as I'm walking through all of this stuff, right, as a young adult trying to build a career for myself, I felt like nobody understood what I was going through. And people were kind and encouraging, but nobody got it.
Yeah.
You know? And so what's beautiful about Misfit Nation is that we all share this common baseline, that we've all gone through something. We've all felt extremely alone and isolated while we were walking through it, but we all pulled ourselves up. We found that spark inside of ourselves, fanned it back into a flame, got our shit together, and decided that nothing was going to stop us from pursuing our passions and from fulfilling our calling. And I get all fired up just talking about this, but it's because I believe in what we are doing, and I believe in the community that we're building of people, because I really, with all of my heart, believe that we are stronger together.
100%. And it's almost like you're the branding architect for me.
It's almost like that.
Yeah. So I want to, you know, I want to wrap it up. I want to, you know, respect everybody's time, but I wanted to give people a glimpse of, you know, cause I've seen you on stage and you did it again. You know, you're surprising, you know, you go, you know, okay, what the hell is this, you know, and I don't mean this but what's this girl going to teach me? Right. And
I get it. It's fine.
And I don't care, you know, I mean, I know this about you now, that even at 16, you were a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Even at 18, like you just have an old soul. You have a caring soul. You have a loving soul. You have an empathetic soul. You really do. You and Thomas and the entire team and Marcy and, you know, just on and on and on and on and on. It's incredible to have a team of people that are all built for service and built for sacrifice, because that's what this is. You know, none of us really, I mean, I don't have to be doing this, you know, Thomas, you don't have to, like, we could all be doing other shit. And yet we've all come together around this, and it's important. And we've created a platform that Misfit Nation has been clamoring for several years. And now it's there. And as we said, we're going to do it. And if Misfit Nation shows up, we'll do it again. If Misfit Nation doesn't, we're going to have one hell of a fucking party at the end of February, and I'm never doing it again, you know?
Yep.
So really simple, really simple for me. So if Misfit Nation, if you all are hearing this message and you haven't signed up, get your ass there. You know, if you can't get there for whatever reason, just remember, my 7-year-old daughter will tell you, Cisneros, don't say can't. So you should never have can't in your soul, right? And I
love it.
And you also, you know, bring some people with you and let people know about this. We've got full-blown, you know, we've got full-blown committed Misfit Nation people that are literally out selling tickets. Like they see the opportunity that we have here to be something different, to band together as a band of misfits, and for us to start having our own voices heard in a place that's filled with a lot of scumminess, you know? And so anyway, I wanted to end on that. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the people before you go? I want to remind people, by the way, that one of the requirements of all the speakers that I have required of them for content wise at the Unstoppable event is, number one, what would you teach your younger self, right? What would you teach your younger self? Number two, what are you doing right now to pay the bills with what you do? And number three, what do you see coming in the future since you're engaged in the industry, right? And so Crysten will be addressing everything from those perspectives, and you're going to be surprised, at some of her answers and the usefulness, the utility of her talk. You're going to be surprised by it. But what else did I not ask her? What else do you need to say?
I guess I would just say, if you're already a member of Misfit Nation, we're proud to have you. And I am truly honored to be a part of that group of people. I don't take that lightly at all. And I'm truly honored and humbled to be a part of that, and to be, to get to lead y'all in any capacity. And I would also just say that, that if you're not a member of Misfit Nation, what the heck?
What is up?
What's up? Join us. I mean, seriously, because I'm serious. I mean, even just, we all do the freaking mindless social media scroll, right? Like, we are all guilty of this. Like, I use social media as a tool for a living, right? And I'm still that fool that's scrolling through Instagram, like drooling, right? Like, we all do this, right? And I would say this. For me, every day, seeing consistent posts and people sharing their heart in the Misfit Nation page on Facebook is a constant source of encouragement to me. And even if I'm not posting in there, and even if I'm not sharing my own thing, it's because I'm like, I can't hold a candle to what these other people are saying. And I'm so humbled just to be a part of this. So I would say this: if you're not already a member of Misfit Nation, get in there, join the group, and start sharing and start being encouraged by these incredible people that are already a part of this community, because truly it is something special, and I don't know of anything else like it that exists.
Yeah.
So,
we don't for those of you that are thinking about joining, we don't allow anybody to sell in there. There's never any sales pages. There's never any, there obviously it's a diverse group of people, from, gay, straight, black, white, Republican, Democrat, like all of us have come together to show, I think, the way the world really works, which is you can disagree and still love each other.
Absolutely.
There's no personal attacks, right? We attack problems in Misfit Nation. We don't attack people, because once you've devolved to having to attack a human being, you've already lost, and you've shown that you care more about yourself and your tiny little ego than you do the other person. And that's not tolerated in any way, shape, or form in Misfit Nation. And
I love the collaboration too. Even if people saying, "Hey, I don't know what to do about this. What do y'all think?" And then you're getting free advice from highly skilled people that can help. It's beautiful. The whole nature of it is like, it really is like a family. And I know I'm gushing a little bit, but I really do. Like, I believe in it that much. And so if you're not part of it, become a part of it. If you're already a part of it, keep doing what you're doing, y'all, because you guys inspire me on a daily basis.
Yeah. And it's not to say, I want everybody to understand that the reason, like, just like Unstoppable event, if Crysten gets up on stage and she blows you away with what she says, she's earned your attention. Right? She's earned your attention, so you can go up to her and say, "Crysten, how could I do this?" And then that's when you have the conversation. Maybe you want to hire Crysten, right? Maybe you want to bring her in, through Anton Jae Agency or whatever to help your company or whatever. But it's not, hey, first off, I'm here. I'm looking at how many people are in the audience, and I'm calculating wallet, right? And I'm going to craft my message based on subliminally impacting you and manipulating you to want to jump up and go to the back of the room. There's not just seven fucking there's not 7 systems left. There's not 5 minutes before it goes up to double the price. There's all this other bullshit that people are being manipulated in all this other stuff that they do. It's serve.
Yes.
And you will get a return on that, right? People are serving in Misfit Nation, and they're hiring each other left and right. You know what I mean? They're hiring each other left and right, but not one sales pitch, not one ad, not one anything. People hire each other in Misfit Nation because they serve each other, right? Yeah. And it becomes apparent what you're good at in there. So anyways, I'm going to shut up too, but that's our big push. we want everybody to share, share this out if you're watching now. And it was kind of we didn't get a good chance to promote the show. I wish we would have, but we're going to push it out because there was some really amazing content here. And at the end of the day, I'm proud to be in business with you, Crysten. I'm proud of the work that you do. It's my message and my heart and my passion. It's my legacy that you guys have in your hands. And I feel very, very confident that it's in great hands who understand me and who understand the outcome of where we're going. So thank you for that. And I just wanted publicly to let everybody know the work you do, the work Thomas does, the work that the team does together. It's important work and you're amazing at it.
Thank you. And I would say in response from Tom, myself, our whole team, we are more than honored to be entrusted with that level of responsibility. And it is not something that we take lightly. We consider it the highest privilege to be in partnership with y'all and to be able to help craft how your message is shared with the world. So thank you for entrusting us with something that we know is so important.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Well, everybody, you can get a hold of Crysten at antonjaeagency.com. We'll put it in the stuffs and the things. I mean, you guys will. You're my team now, so you guys will figure this shit out.
We'll put it there.
I don't have to do anything. I just have to show up and be a solid 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. But I just want to say thank you, and I think we have a couple meetings coming up, and I'll be seeing a lot of your faces.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. All right, you have a good evening.
You too. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Okay, so let's see. What do we got to do here? Okay, so I want to finish up and wrap up. I just want to thanks everybody for being here. Again, we kind of popped this in just last minute, but that's Crysten. She's amazing. She's going to be on stage. You're going to be able to be around her. You're going to be able to be around all the other speakers at Unstoppable. The day of the event is the 28th. If you're VIP, we've got something special for you the night before. We've got something special for you the day after. But if you're coming any other, if you're coming for the general admission or whatever the case may be, you're going to have a full day. It's a full day, man. We start early and we go until late that night because we're going to do all the speakers during the day. And at night, we're going to do an award ceremony that is going to be really rewarding and recognizing people in Misfit Nation, people of service, businesses of service, individuals of service. We're going to give some awards that I think are deserving in the world. And so I hope that you understand the expense, the effort, the energy that's going into building a platform for Misfit Nation to show up at, because y'all have been asking for this for a while, and we finally built it. So I would hope that you're buying tickets to go. I would hope that you're bringing your team. I would hope that you are supporting and that you're telling other people about it and sharing the message. But 2020 has officially started, y'all. And I'm going to be sharing, if you ever have watched a show of mine, Monday night, everybody knows I do a Just Jason Monday show. And Just Jason Monday on January 13th, which is next Monday, is going to be one for the record books. It's going to be a good one. I've got some content that I've been holding back, some things that need to be said, some outlining of what 2020 looks like, and it's going to be a hell of a show. That's all I can tell you. It's going to be a hell of a show, and I want all of you to be there. I want you to bring your friends. This is the year of building Misfit Nation. Okay, period. End of sentence. All of you that know that are in Misfit Nation, I post every once in a while. But why Misfit Nation is great is because of the people in Misfit Nation, right? And the way that they shine, and when they're hurting, and when they're supporting, and when they're giving advice, and when they're coaching, and when they're that environment is something that every time I open it up, I don't even want to say stuff sometimes, because it's full of beautiful, gorgeous hearts and souls that are loving each other. It's an environment like I've never seen before. It's a supportive area. And I look in there sometimes and I go, man, I want to share this, back out into the public realm. And then I go, no, fuck that. Misfit Nation was built for people that wanted to take that extra step and want to not just consume, but want to participate, and that want to hear get their voice out there, and want to ask a question that they wouldn't feel. We've got stories that are being shared in Misfit Nation that have never, these people trust us in this environment so much that they've never shared it before, that they've held inside of themselves, that now they can free themselves up and realize they're not broken. They never were broken, that they've got that voice now, and now they can build a business. Now they can make money. Now they can start a 501c3. Now they can do that thing that they were born with. Each and every one of you that are listening to my voice, each and every one of you that have come across the Misfit Nation, all of you have some beautiful thing that I don't and can't and never will be able to do, that is unique to this world, and that you were born with, but has been buried under a whole bunch of bullshit of other people's opinions, that have been buried underneath of some of your failures, that have been buried underneath of people controlling you and people hurting you and you hurting yourself and you making bad decisions. That's been buried. And what Misfit Nation is there to do is just to scrape all that shit aside and go, whatever that is inside of you, let it fucking grow, because we need it, man. I mean, we live in a fucking world right now where the opportunity financially has never been greater. The opportunity to love has never been greater, never had less weight on top of it. No matter who you want to love, no matter what you want to love, no matter what you want to do, your entrepreneurial spirit, your opportunity to grow, the freedoms that we have, the peace that exists in the world. There has never been a greater time in human history than right now. And what we do with it will define our generation. And so Monday is going to be a lot about that. I'm going to unleash some stuff that I'm really, really going to push hard for, that are going to make people we've had this conversation a lot over the last couple of weeks of planning, 2020 and getting crystal clear on it. I already had a good idea of what direction we were going to go, but, people telling me, Jason, people either love you or they hate you. And I love that fact. Okay. Because you hate me because of who I am, or you love me because of who I am. There's no bullshit in between there. And I'm good with somebody hating me for who I am. I'm not good with anybody hating me or because of somebody else's lies, and neither should you. You shouldn't put up with it. You shouldn't be okay with it. But what can you do about it? Sometimes that shit just happens. But the people that know you and love you for who you are, with your mistakes and with the shit that's wrong with you and the shit that you fucked up in the past, that's your family. Misfit Nation is a family that I'm proud of and that I will fucking go to the mat for. So show up on Monday night. It's 7 p.m. MST, just like it has been forever. Monday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Adjust it to whatever time that is for you, and come and bring some people and expose them and let them either love me or hate me, but let them hear what needs to be said as we enter into a new year. Okay. I'm happy to be here, y'all. Had an amazing experience with my family at Disneyland, with my friends and my extended family for New Year's in Aruba. There's a lot of really great things. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of momentum because we decided to really dig in the last quarter of last year. And I know a lot of you did too. And there's a lot of momentum that's heading out, a lot of great opportunities that we have to sift through that have to be right for us at Misfit Nation, through the Bald Avenger show, through Jason Cisneros, and through for Anton Jae. The one thing that my team did ask me for is that if you guys could go to the Bald Avenger on YouTube and just subscribe, just throw subscribe up there. We need to drive those numbers up for a few things that we're working on. And I would appreciate it. I know it's just one more thing. We do have a special thing that I cannot wait to fucking unveil to you guys. That is going to be the greatest. I've never, I conceived of something like this that I worked with Oracle on for a couple years to the tune of $1.5 million, that we never could get just right. We just wrapped up something that's just right. And it's a way for all of us to have to, you know, we don't have to be on we don't have to choose the Instas, all this other kind of stuff, but us in Misfit Nation will be able to come together around one tool that doesn't have to be built or adapted to. It's I can't wait to unveil it. It is life-changing, world-changing platform for us all to take our game to the next level. All right. So I'm going to shut up now. I love you all. Thank you for being here for the very first episode of 2020. 20 is my lucky number, and there's a shitload of them this year. And I can't wait for you guys to rip off that old shell of who you were and to become who you're meant to be. Because by God, if you're a member of Misfit Nation, it's going to be demanded of you to be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. I love you all. Please join me on Just with Jason Monday. There's a lot more I want to share with you, a lot more things I want to unveil. Thanks for being here tonight. Crysten, you knocked it out of the park, as always. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you in February 27, 28, 29 in Florida at the unstoppablegc.com event. Peace. I love you all.